Hey guys, and welcome to Daniel and Gian Talk, and on this episode I make a fool out of myself. I also review Salman Khan's newest film, Tiger Zinda Hai. So before I get started with the review, I just wanted to start by saying my experience was pretty f***ing awesome. And this is the first time I've ever went and spent money on an Indian film, and I can tell you right now it won't be my last. Just seeing the trailer Hitchki on the big screen when Gian and I just did a trailer reaction to it. It was pretty freaking cool. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not just saying this just to say it. I genuinely mean it. It was just a whole nother feeling because it made Hitchki have a whole nother feeling. And I know this review's about Tiger Zinda Hai, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for continuing to recommend us trailers and new content. I think it's really, really cool. I never would have known about this movie. This is not how I normally would have spent my Friday night, but I did so. And, I had a blast, and I'm going to continue to do so. But let's get right into the review. So first things first, the first 15 minutes of this movie were awesome. I mean, there's really nothing else for me to say other than it was just relentless, and I felt realistic. And comparing it to the first one, it's almost as if the first few minutes were like a reboot. And I know this isn't a new story or anything like that, but what I mean is just the overall style and approach to the filmmaking just completely changed from that first film, Ek the Tiger, to this one. This one felt grounded right off the bat. It felt down and dirty. I enjoyed that flying overhead drone shot that just held on it a little bit too long, and it just made you feel uneasiness. But it also made you feel like there was this calm and quiet collective space going on in this city. Very good. I really enjoyed that. I'm just going to go through the things that I liked. I really enjoyed the aspect of what the plot was. I know a lot of people in the comments have told me to watch Takeoff because it's a more realistic approach towards this subject matter, and this film made me want to watch Takeoff even more, because if that's the case, it's nice to see a bit of contrast between the two types of filmmaking. Clearly, this is blockbuster filmmaking, so you're going to have things like music and these romantic, cheesy dinners that take place in the street with bags full of candles and stuff. It's just, completely unrealistic stuff, but it's made for entertainment. And I have to say, when I walked away with this movie, I felt entertained. It's not to say that this is the greatest movie of all time, because it's not, but there definitely were some pretty cool moments in the film. I mean, Katrina Kaif's first action scene was pure brilliant, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. When she's in that robbery situation and she's looking at the CCT camera and she's clicking on the pen to time it to make sure she kicks people's asses off camera, that was fucking badass. I mean, genuinely one of the best character introductions in terms of action-based character introduction I've seen in a very long time. Super creative. I loved it. If it was pulled from another movie, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, that's a moment I enjoyed. As a matter of fact, all of her action scenes were great. I kind of wish there was more of her and her team, and which leads me to the overall, theme is very important to me, and when I do my reviews, I always talk about theme, and this theme was front and center: humanity. And if you are a fan of this show, or if you've listened to any of our podcasts and you've listened to me talk lately, I keep saying the same thing, that at the end of the day, whether we're from India or America or Iraq or Pakistan or whatever, we're all going to have our differences. We're all going to have our problems. We're all going to have all of the above. But at the end of the day, we're still human. And I'm very curious to know, for all my Indian viewers out there, listeners, etc., what do you think when you see this movie? Do you think this is just left-wing propaganda? Is this considered left-wing propaganda? I would assume so. Does this make you feel good? Is this a common trope in filmmaking? The movies that we've watched, I feel like the Indian-Pakistan thing is always used as a means to cause conflict, not necessarily to create unity, like in this film. So I'm very curious to know, is this something one of a kind? I know I might sound ignorant, but I'm willing to put myself on the line to get educated, because I'm not in India, but I'm genuinely curious to know the reception of this film, because for me, when I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm enjoying this plot twist, not in regards to like real life, would this actually work, would this not actually work, but on a pure story level. The amount of conflict it created by having them to team up was kind of cool. I liked how the boss of Salman Khan, I forget his name, Tiger's boss, I'm sorry. Like, I liked how they were a little suspicious of him, but I liked how the movie didn't follow up on that and like continue to make it seem like there was going to be this twist at the end where maybe Katrina's character betrays Salman, which would have been terrible. So I'm glad it didn't do that. But again, there was this sense of brotherhood and unity against a common enemy. And I personally think it worked. I'm not Indian or Pakistani myself, but when they united and when they flew those flags together at the very end of the movie, I was like, yeah, man, that was cool. Like, that was a genuinely cool moment. It reminded me of, like, I don't know, I felt oddly patriotic, which is weird, so I feel like that's why it worked. It reminded me of like a Michael Bay movie, and that's not a slight at this film at all. I'm a fan of Michael Bay. I appreciate his work. He's the last of a dying breed. As I was mentioning before, it's not a perfect movie, and I definitely had problems with it. For example, towards the end, there's a scene where the main villain opens poison gas on Salman Khan's character, Tiger, as well as his wife, and everyone in the room has gas masks, except for Salman, Katrina, and the main bad guy. And I was just like, wait, what? If this is poisonous gas, and there's even a line that says, like, one whiff of this and you'll die, or you'll do something like that. None of them were wearing masks. I was like, okay, then how does this work? So it was a little weird, and it was just, but I went into this movie, I turned that part of my brain off that was going to be judgmental, just like I did with Drishyam, and I enjoyed that movie. And so I'm starting to see like a trend of like how the movies are structured, stylistically, what's going on, and it's actually for the better, because now I'm starting to say, okay, if I go to a Salman Khan film, I'm going to expect X, Y, and Z, which lets me not be so judgmental, for me to understand what exactly I'm going to get. You're going to get your intense, serious, no bullshit moments, just like when, for example, when that first nurse gets executed. Like, I thought maybe something would happen that would stop that, and it didn't. And I enjoyed that it didn't, just because it made the stakes that much higher. But then you have your moments like Katrina coming out of nowhere to save the day in that car, and then they do this weird flip thing and all these like over dramatic stuff, which is, it's like, and you laugh at it, or at least I did. But that's a part of having a good time, I could sit here and tell you every reason why that's wrong, but at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and if it entertained me, hey man, it was good. So, I can easily compare it to other movies, and I'm not going to, but at the end of the day, that $11 that I spent to watch this movie was 100% worth it, and I don't regret it for 1 second. It was just a purely entertaining film. Like I said, not revolutionary, but I did really enjoy a lot of it. As a matter of fact, I just was watching the whole time, and I was like, man, I wonder what this movie would look like if you took out all the unnecessary added BS, if you took out the date scene, if you took out the Tiger scene with Junior, that was a little unnecessary. If you took these moments out that were over the top, and you did make it less about Tiger and more about what was going on, what this movie would look like. It might be a top 10 hostage rescue, movie. There was times when it reminded me of Die Hard, and Die Hard to me is the perfect example of this film minus all the gimmicks. So if you're curious out there of like what I would consider a perfect movie, Die Hard, the first one, the original one, that is to me the perfect representation of this movie. So check it out if you've never seen Die Hard. And I want to close with this, and it's going to be a controversial statement, I know, but I think that Salman Khan was the weakest part of this movie. I just have to say that every time he was on screen, he was just a distraction. And it's not to say that he was bad acting or anything like that. It's just I couldn't see Tiger. I could only see Salman Khan. And For a lot of people who went to the movie theater today and will continue to see this movie, I'm sure that's what they want to go see. They want to see Salman Khan. They don't care about seeing Tiger. And I respect that. It's just like seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie way back in the 80s. You didn't care what character he was playing. You wanted to see Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. I get it. Like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's not a complaint. It's just every time I saw him on the screen, I was like, man, I wish it was like an unknown actor, because then I would have cared about everyone equally. Then I maybe wouldn't have said to myself, oh, wait, this is Salman Khan. He's not going to die. You know, for example, when he's in that not underwater, but when he's in those pipes with his wife and he's trying to break out the chains. Like, if it were a lesser known person, they might have died, because, you know, they're not riding on the backs of like, this guy can't die because it's Tiger. So it, you know, like I said, it's controversial. I'm sure I'm going to get hate for saying that, but he definitely was a distraction for me. Just overall, just because, like I said, his star power is just too much, and he didn't blend in for me. You know, everything he did was super muchísimo, except for like the little date stuff, but that's okay. But like I said, I enjoyed the movie. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but there's going to be no cutaway on this episode, and the reasoning behind that is I decided that for all new releases that I see in the movie theater, I'm just not going to have enough time to actually deconstruct something. Plus, I don't have the DVD, so like I don't have the footage like intercut to like properly break down the film, and I'm not going to torrent a pirated like cam version just to include it. So I'm just going to do straight reviews from now on for movies I see in the theater. Things on DVD like Ekta Tiber, the first one, it'll still have a cutaway and everything like that, but just on the new release movie reviews that I see in the theater, there's just going to be no cutaway. There's just going to be no time. Otherwise, I'll release this in 3 days, and I want to get this out to you guys as quickly as possible. So with that, hope you enjoyed this review. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie. Did you think it was garbage? Did it, you know, meet your expectations? Did it exceed your expectations? Am I right? Am I wrong on certain things? Are there certain elements of this movie that I missed that maybe you'd like me to talk about in a future video or answer in the comments? You know, let me know. Either way, as of today, we were at 79% and going down in terms of like total subscribers, non-subscribers watching this. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to keep lowering that number down, because we want more of you viewers out there who are constantly watching our content to also be subscribed and be a part of our family as we enter the new year, and we're going to get more and more new stuff. So with that, guys, that'll do it. Have a good one. You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.